Well, the season's now done and dusted. The last two games we lost against Burnley and we beat Luton, but we finished up on 100 points. Sunderland stayed 7 points behind us, and as you can see, Fulham and Crystal Palace, with their miserable form in the latter half of the season, they're in the playoffs, but they failed to make any ground up. So we finished on top with 100 points. Very nice. And before I discuss anything else, just a quick look back at my former teams. Exeter finished at mid-table, and Chorley have actually finished in the playoffs again. I don't know whether they'll get through, but they finished in the playoffs, so fair play to them. Must say at this point, I'm not the happy bunny that I should really be. There's a lot of unrest in the dressing room. A lot of players are really grumpy, want new contracts, want more money, lots more money. I mean, you know, if a player was on, say, 15,000, they wanted to jump up to 18,000, not a problem. They don't. They want to jump from 15 to 45. So I think at this moment in time, I have put quite a few players on the transfer list because I'm not having anybody dictating to me. So quite a few players have gone on the transfer list. And I think there'll be more outgoings than I actually thought there would be. And we probably will be seeing quite a few new faces for the Premier League. But we'll get into all that later. So let's have a little look at the end of season review, shall we? So as I think is expected, a lot of the players that are brought in gained promotion for us with their performances. So you can expect really the average rating of quite a lot of those players is going to be reasonably high. So Moura, the centre-half from West Ham, who was actually signed for us now for next season, he made 36 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist, 7.5 average over the season. 𝐒𝐄𝐈, who didn't play an awful lot, he's more expensive. And they want about 15 million for him, so I'm not quite sure about him with the amount of money I've got to spend. But he got a 7.28, 19 appearances, 3 goals, 2 assists. Then was Joe Hugel, 29 appearances, 13 goals, 4 assists, 7.24. Marko Bulat, the Croatian magician that I brought in January, he got the star arrival, and he on a 7.23, 13 appearances, 4 goals and 3 assists. Burkhardt, 31 appearances, 18 goals, 9 assists, 7.21. Luke Dreyer, 7.18. Pablo Perez, 7.14. I mean, a lot of the players that I brought in, I mean, even the goalkeeper, Pardo Roques, I didn't really intend to play him as the first choice keeper, but it kind of ended up more like that, and he got a 7.11. Even Diallo, the either-footed winger who I played at striker a lot of the time, got a 7. The strange one is Josh Adam. Not quite sure where the statisticians are looking. If you look at his stats for the season, Josh Adam, 32 appearances, 9 goals, 13 assists, and only got a 6.97. Surely he should be top with a 7.5 average rating. Very bizarre, but anyway, it's the reason why I've given him a new contract. I paid a lot of money for him, but the problem with that is that he was at the head of the queue. I thought maybe he was going to be the only one. Think again, because behind him, once everybody saw he got a pay rise, oh, well, can I have one as well? And we'll just have a quick look down the awards ceremony list that we had. So fans player of the season was Moura, the centre-back. Young player of the season was Brelec, the other centre-back from West Ham. I may have to have serious thoughts about whether I sign him again. I don't know, because I think Bauer's going to be leaving this season. He's, you know, his age is a bit against him for the Premier League now. So I'm going to need a couple of centre-backs to back up Moura. Goal of the season, Alan Brown. Top goal scorer was Burkhardt with 18 goals. Most assists we've already seen, Josh Adam with 13. Most player of the match awards was Dreyer with 5. Highest average rating, 7.5. And most passes completed per 90 minutes, Ben Whiteman with 74. So I said at the beginning of the video that I had a bit of an unrest in the dressing room. I think it's going to be choppy waters next season. We've had the board club vision and expectations meeting email through, so have a look at this. So the end of next season, fight bravely against relegation. So we all know what happened last season, don't we? The expectation was a top half finish. Because we exceeded that, the players were weirdly not accepting of it, and that did cause us a few problems. It caused problems in the dressing room, and it caused problems on the pitch as well. I mean, we did end up getting promoted and we were champions of the division in the end, but it certainly didn't help us along the way. So I am expecting some rocky waters next season. I don't think it's going to be plain sailing by any stretch of the imagination. I think I would be very, very happy with a mid-table position. Very happy. And I think with the money that we've got, the finances, the psyche of the board and the players, it's probably about the best that we can hope for, really. Obviously, I'm going to aim higher. I'd love to get into some kind of European competition. That would be tremendous. Whether that's possible or not, I don't know. But anyway, here starts the search for players who are going to fill the boots of the players that are going to be leaving, and hopefully the players that are going to come in and do a job like Bulat did for us. You know, comes in, star signing in January, Premier Division quality. Let's see what we can do. Well, I've been given a new scouting budget. We didn't really have much of a scouting system before, and now I've been given 614,000 of my scouting budget, and now I can scout the upper tier package of Europe. Hopefully get my scouts working really hard across Europe, try and bring in some really good quality class players for our move up into the Premier League. Chairman's made a cash injection of 10 million to cover debts incurred this season, and the board have announced that as from today they will be installing undersoil heating at a cost of 2 million. And I've also been given new staffing allowances. I've been given an extra 3 scouts and an extra 2 physios and a sports scientist. I did ask for some more coaches, but as you can see, that's been rejected. Would have been nice for a few more coaches, but they won't let me have any. So like I said, I've got quite a bit of dressing room unrest, and because of that, I'm moving a few players out. Can't be having my authority overridden. And so the first one of those is 𝐒𝐿𝐴. So as you can see, we got 11.5 million for him, which is okay for a 29-year-old. And the board have given me 6.25 million of that to strengthen the team, which is quite nice. Another player on his way out, Ben Whiteman, been causing a few problems. He's 30, so he played well for us last season, and he has been a good servant, but I can't be having this disruption, so he's on his way out. So he's going to St Gallen for 8.75 million, and the board are giving me 4.3 million of that to strengthen the squad again. My little experiment with the inverted wingers, all that kind of thing, never really seemed to come off for us. So I think I'm going to be looking to bring players in that fit my basic tactic, either a diamond, that kind of with no wingers basically. So in that vein, Fabian Vilches is on his way out of the club as well. He's gone to Union Espinalo. We only got 825,000 for him. I've got about 500,000 given to me again to bolster the transfer budget. I do like a versatile player, so obviously my net is widening now. We can scout Europe, and one of my scouts has brought to my attention an Angolan playing for Lille in France. Julien Ponsau, is that pronounced? Julien Ponsau. Stats looking really good. If we look at his history, going back to season 23-24, his average rating has never been less than 7.12. So he looks quite a decent player. His assist rating is really good. So I think we're probably going to put a bid in for him and see. I mean, the midfield is a little bit chocker at the moment, but that's not to say some of the players won't be leaving. You know, it's a very fluid situation at the moment. I think Pring's performances have been slightly worrying in the latter half of last season. He did start off really well, but I think his performances have declined. So with Perez on that side now, I'm looking for somebody else in there, and I've just come across Andrea Cambiaso, 27-year-old Italian wing-back. Looks okay, so I think we'll be putting an offer in for him. And while we're looking at wing-backs, seeing as 𝐒𝐿𝐴's gone, need a right wing-back as well. So Tomás Esteves, Portuguese, 25-year-old. Again, stats look decent. He's got plenty of pace and acceleration. So they're wanting 3.3 million. Of course, this is all very well. Never really shown you this operation before. I've done this multiple times through Chorley, Exeter, and with Preston, and you get the offer accepted. When it comes to signing the player, Whole different ball game. Goalkeeper's quite high on my list for a purchase. This lad's come to my attention. Pontus Dalberg, a 28-year-old Swedish goalkeeper, playing for Rotherham currently. Got some quite decent stats. If we look at his history, 21 clean sheets last season, 43 conceded out of 46 appearances, 7.08, 4 player of the matches. The season before he had 9 player of the matches. Here we go, trials and tribulations of a manager. So Julian Ponsau, I put an offer in for, was accepted. I'm actually showing you these this time. Before I've never shown this, I've just told you about it, but he's actually rejected the contract that we were. In fact, he's not even looked at the contract. He's just rejected it before. So it's Preston North End, don't want to come. So that's one we've lost. However, 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐿, the left wing back, very interested in negotiating terms. Let's have a look. He wants to be a regular starter. He wants £33,000 a week. So if we bear in mind, I've got about £500,000 to spend on wages, and if I have a squad of say 22 players, if we split that up, it's about just over £20,000 a week per player. Some will be on a bit more, some will be on less. The backup players will be on less. So do we think that £33,000 a week, I mean, he's going to have to be a regular starter for that, isn't he? He's going to, I mean, that's what he wants to be. Signing on fee of £1 million as well. You know, are we prepared to pay these kind of figures out? Okay, let's try negotiating with him. We'll knock the wages down to 27. We'll try and knock this down to £500,000 instead of £1 million. Relegation release clause, well, that's fine because we ain't getting relegated. Not on my watch. Okay, let's see if he'll go for that. He's gone for that. So that's 27,000 a week. I've got his signing on fee down by half. So let's finalise the deal on that one. Okay. Tomás Esteves. He was the right wing back. Yes. Right wing back. He's interested in negotiating terms. So let's see what he wants to be. He wants to be a squad player. But he's coming in as a 4-star with the potential to be 4.5. Probably will want less money. 21,000. Let's try and knock him down to 16 and knock that down to 250,000. See what he thinks about that one. Okay, he's come back at me. That's fine. We're in negotiation. And he's come up a little bit more. That's fine. Just under 20,000. Pontus Dalberg. He's the goalkeeper. He's interested as well. Considerable interest in negotiating terms. He wants to be an important player. Well, he will be because he's probably going to be our starting goalkeeper. Okay, so he wants 51,000 a week and a signing on fee of 2.1 million. Going to have to be quite strict with the wage structure, otherwise finances are going to run away with me. I don't think this lad will go for it. It's a shame because he looks like a really good keeper. So let's suggest that. No, he's come back at 48,000. He does look a very good keeper though, doesn't he? Can we get him down a bit more? Don't really want to pay that, but don't really want to be paying this kind of money, but we are in the Premier League now. Okay, so he's accepted 41,000 with a signing on fee of £250,000. That made my eyes water a little. Gonna have to be a bit careful now, aren't we? So we're just keeping an eye on the finances now. So we're committed to 427,000. Although there will be players leaving after the contracts have run out. And we've got a wage budget of 512. We've still got a transfer budget of 46 million. And I could convert some of that into wage budget. So we'll see how that goes. Well, some good news. 𝐒𝐏𝐕𝐈𝐄𝐈, the left wing back, has been granted a work permit and he's signing for us. 𝐒𝐏𝐕𝐈𝐄𝐈 has agreed a deal to join the club. He's happy to be leaving Verona following his transfer listing. So I've got myself a left wing back. Very nice. Well, I have myself a goalkeeper. A very expensive goalkeeper. £41,000 a week. He better be able to keep the white round thing from going between the two white sticks. That's all I can say. Looking at another one of the lads that we had on loan from Wolves, the Christian Marquez, we didn't play him an awful lot. I think Bauer was our mainstay centre-back last season with Moura. And now Bauer is going, we do need somebody to slot in there. Marquez, he's a Swiss 24-year-old. He's got 11 under 21 caps. He's 6'2", heading of 16. He's got good marking and tackling stats. Physicals are okay. Again, have to be aware, we're Preston North End. We're not going to be able to sign world-class players because of the transfer budget. Certainly the wage budget, as we're finding. These players want 40, 50 grand a week to play in the Premier League. We just can't afford it. I've still got Aaron Jones. He's having a major grumpy on. I don't want to lose him, but he wants like triple the money to stay with us. It's crazy. Anyway, let's see if we can put an offer in for this lad. He's probably not the top-notch player that we need, but he's the player that we can afford, which is not ideal, really. Now, this lad's out of contract in June of this year, so I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get him for nothing, actually. I can't sign him before the end of June. I've tried approaching him for a contract. Let's just see what happens. Yeah. I mean, I think he's just at that stage now where he can sign a contract with anybody. So potentially we could get him for nothing. Okay, he's slightly interested in negotiating terms. It's more appealing. Options elsewhere. Troyes. He's more interested in joining Troyes. Playing time, squad player. Please do not tell me what to sign in my team. I'm not having it. 22,000. Now that's a little bit more agreeable, isn't it? And seeing as Troyes are after him, so shall we just give him that? As you can see, this management malarkey, not as easy as you think, is it really? Trying to put a team together to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool and Arsenal. It's not easy. I'm doing my best though. Another little bit of good news. My right wing back is signing. Thomas 𝐓𝐑𝐻 has agreed a deal to join the club. He's excited at the prospect of playing in the English Premier Division for Preston. That's got a very nice ring to it, hasn't it? Anyway, so I've now got two left wing backs in Perez and 𝐒𝐏𝐕𝐈𝐄𝐈 and two right wing backs in Manzano and 𝐓𝐑𝐻. My second centre back signing of this transfer window, Christian Marquez from Wolves. We did have this lad on loan last season, didn't play him an awful lot, but like I say, Bauer was standing in the way of some of the loan players and younger players coming through. So we needed a new centre back, and he's a reasonably cheap addition. Nice bit of good news. I hope I can continue signing players like this of this calibre. Christian De La Mora has won Player of the Year. De La Mora named as Player of the Year winner. Preston North End's Christian De La Mora on loan from West Ham has won the 𝐒𝐲 Championship Player of the Year award. I knew it was a good idea signing him on a permanent basis. And a bit of recognition for the gaffer as well. Gaffer claims Manager of the Year. Preston North End's Gobby Gaffer has won the 𝐒𝐲 Championship Manager of the Year award. Well, who else would they have given it to? I'm only joking. And it just goes to show, you know, the media predicted Dream 11 at the beginning of the season. Kind of take it with a bit of pinch of salt. Just look at this. Preston players named in the Players Team of the Year. So our goalkeeper Marquez, he was the goalkeeper of the year. De La Mora, obviously we know, centre-back. He won Player of the Year. But we've got Manzano in there, right wing-back. And we've also got Bayliss in midfield and Burkhardt up front. So 5 players in the Team of the Year. Not bad going, that, is it really? So it's now the 9th of June and 4 signings have arrived. We've got 18-year-old defensive midfielder Luke Sullivan. I think my director of football must have signed him. Just have a quick look at his stats. He doesn't look too bad, does he? He looks as though he could progress. He'll go straight into the under-18s. And then Pontus Dalberg and 𝐓𝐑𝐻𝐿 coming in with a C+, B-, and B- from the board. So I think they're reasonably happy with my transfer business so far. And this email brings things into perspective a little bit. Preston set record for high spending. The 14,750,000 spent by Preston on transfer fees this season is a new record. The previous record for spending in a season was 4,700,000. That definitely puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Okay, I brought a new player in. Didn't show the negotiations for this one because I didn't think I'd get him. Hamburg were in for him. In fact, I think there were 3 German clubs in, top German clubs in for him. I thought, I'll put a cheeky bid in. We'll not get him. We got him. 20-year-old Sebastian Hermann Wolf. 6'4". I mean, some of his mentals and his physicals are amazing to look at. I think we've got a bit of a star on our hands. So I've now got 3 centre-backs. Still looking at the centre-back situation. Maybe could do a little bit more strength in depth there. I've just been notified that Hibernian have made an offer of $1.5 million for Leon King. We have scouted this lad and the scouting is an A rating. Sign King whatever the price. I mean, I'm not entirely sure signing whatever the price. If we just hover over. So he's coming in as a 3.5 with the potential to be 4. I'm just wondering as a backup whether he would be a good sign. He's only 23. Shall we make a cheeky offer for him? So if Hibernian have offered 1.5, if we offer 1.7. So it's been accepted. Start negotiations with him. Wants to be an important player. Let's start negotiations with him. So he basically wants 8,750 a week. I think we might just give him what he wants because it might just frighten Hibernian off. Might have a few problems with him. He's not playing every week. I'm kind of considering him as a backup. He wants to be an important player, regular starter. So anyway, let's see how it goes. A little bit of an update as well. 𝐒𝐄𝐈 got knocked out of the playoffs. So they stay in the division that they're in. And the playoff final in the Championship was between Crystal Palace and Fulham. And Crystal Palace won that. So us, Sunderland and Crystal Palace are all now in the Premier League. The money's certainly swilling around. Preston raking record transfer income. The 31.5 million received by Preston on transfer fees this season, a new record. The previous record was 19,750,000. And the 11.5 million that we received for Matt Ollesund to Besiktas was a record. The previous record was 9.5 million for Jordan Hugill to West Ham. Gobby Gaffer's certainly shaking things up. So with Whiteman having left the club, kind of looking at that deep line playmaker role, this lad's popped up, an Argentinian, contracted to Arsenal. They want 12 million for him. Whether a 12 million bid will get him, I don't know. Guillermo Esteche. Shall we put a cheeky bid in? I'm going to put a bid of 10 million in and see what they say. Whoa. They've accepted that. And he's come back extremely interested in negotiating terms. Let's see what he wants. Shall we have a laugh? So he wants us to allow him to treat the club as a stepping stone. I don't mind that. We're Preston North End, you know. We have to be real about this, don't we? So he is a very, very good player, but he wants 40 grand a week. The yearly wage rise is not allowed by the board, and wage after reaching international appearances, he wants to go to 52,000. We're playing with the big boys now, and I don't know, are we out of our depth a little bit? Because this is the calibre of player that we need to progress to that next level. It's looking possible like we're not going to get him. So taking those 2 clauses out, we're offering 40k a week, sign-on fee of 1.5 million, Agent's fee of 250,000, 4-year contract, appearance fee of 8,000, unused sub fee of 2k. He's got a minimum fee release clause, clubs in the Champions Cup 24 million, and a relegation release clause of 14.25. Let's see whether that will suffice. Okay, so he's willing to come for 44 with an agent fee of 300. Let's try and knock him down to 42. I think all this money's going to my head. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. 40k a week? When I first started this transfer window, I was, oh, you can't have any more than 20. Now I'm offering 40. What's going on? The world's gone mad. After that last transfer, I mean, it's not gone through yet, but I'm getting a bit of a nosebleed here. So I'm juggling the finances a little bit. So with that, I mean, we are going to have some wages coming back in because on the 1st of July, a few players are leaving. So, but I don't know whether it will be enough to compensate for this Argentinian lad coming in. So I don't think I'm going to be spending the whole of the transfer budget. So I've moved it slightly and it's given me a wage budget now of 740,000 and the transfer budget is just under 20 million. So that seems much more reasonable to me now. It's given me a bit more wage budget to play with. Because as we've seen, it's obvious, isn't it, that we're going in for these players and they're wanting the top, well, not top players even. I mean, the top players at City and at United and Liverpool will be earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. So we're not even paying top money. But for us, it's big money. I think our top earner last season was earning about maybe 18 to 20,000 pounds a week. Not even that, I don't think. So I think this is a prudent step and hopefully it will keep us in a more stable position. Now, I know the striker role, we've got 4 players in there at the moment. We've got Diallo, Jones, Burkhardt and 𝐒𝐄𝐁. I've no idea how any of them are going to play in the Premier League. They may or may not score goals. So a name's popped up on my radar, Taiwo Awani, and he's a 29-year-old Nigerian. Looks to have great stats. So he's contracted to Sassuolo, 2.8 million. Be a bit of a steal if we could get him for that. His pace is 14 to 16, acceleration 15 to 17, balance 16 to 18, and he's got a 14 to 16 for finishing. I think I'm going to make a cheeky bid for him. Well, that's been accepted. We shall see. Okay, so he's slightly interested in coming. Let's just see what he wants wages wise. He only wants 66,000 a week. I'll have a rummage around in my pocket, shall I see if I can find any spare change. 66,000? Do you think we are? I think for once I'm going to walk away from that. I think I would rather sign an up and coming 19, 20, 21 year old who's got potential. I think we're going to walk away from that one. Okay, you lose some, but then you win some. Estesh granted a work permit. I think we've got a really good player on our hands here. And you remember the young centre-back that we went in for, that Hibernian had put an offer in of 1.5 million. We increased it to 1.7. Hibernian came back with 1.9, but the lad decided to come to us anyway. So he's rejected the offer from Hibernian and he's signed for good old Preston North End. So this one's really exciting. Star player who could still improve, coming in as a 4-star with the potential to be 5. Getting a B- from the board for that one. And I think Leon King could surprise a few, you know. Kind of went in for him as a backup, but he's coming in as a 3.5, potential 4-star player. And he wants to be classed as an important player. We're going to have competition for places. If you're good enough, you'll play. If you're not, you won't play. Simple as that. Well, most of the boys are back now. Getting to have a quick look at them in pre-season friendlies. They're underway as well. And I've identified a position possibly that we could do with strengthening. And I brought a Portuguese, 24-year-old Portuguese lad in. Fabio Carvalho is coming in from Bristol City. He's kind of an inverted winger on the left-hand side or attacking midfielder. So it gives him that little option to shuffle the pack as and when needed. Stats are not too shabby either. think he could be quite a good creative player for us. We needed a bit of cover in the defensive midfield or deep line playmaker area, so I've raided Middlesbrough for a lad on loan, Karl Maggs. I'm sure it's maybe going to be one of those where he doesn't play an awful lot. Probably end up getting myself in trouble with Middlesbrough for not playing him, but we've got some backup in that area now, which is great. 𝐒𝐿 has been one of those in the dressing room that's been a little bit of a disrupting influence. He played last season, not an awful lot, and I suppose to be fair to the lad, you know, we bought him. He wanted to play constantly, which we didn't. So he was causing a few. So anyway, we've sold him, and he's gone to Union Berlin for just under 4 million. Now I needed a backup keeper, and I was kind of trolling around looking for. I mean, Pears didn't want to re-sign for us. I tried to re-sign him. He didn't want to. I mean, he was 28, so I suppose he wanted first team football, guaranteed first team football, so he didn't want to re-sign for us. Wasn't sure on Marquez. Would he be okay in the Premier League? So tried to sign a backup keeper. Thought, okay, you know, shall we go for an up-and-coming young lad? That proved quite difficult. So in the end, I plumped for this lad. He's a Brazilian, Renato. It's cost me 5.25 million. Now the slight problem is both of the goalkeepers that I've signed want to be important players, first choice goalkeepers, and all of that malarkey. So, I mean, I don't know whether I'm going to have a bit. I mean, what I could do, and I've been juggling this in my mind. What I could do is I could play them both, one in goal, one in defensive midfield player. And then when we're under attack, they could both go in goal. And as long as one of them doesn't use his hands, everything's fine with the world, okay? I'm only joking. No, but we've got two really good goalkeepers now, and it's going to be difficult keeping them both happy. But better to have two really good ones than one really good one and one not that good. So as you'll have noticed from the keeper being Brazilian, the board have sanctioned now that we can actually scout the world. I've just signed a scout who is scouting Brazil and Argentina for us as we speak. And he's brought in with him a cluster of players who he's recommending automatically. And one of them was a young Brazilian striker who I've kind of signed a bit blind. I know it's probably not the greatest thing to do, but he's only 19 and I don't know, Brazilian strikers, can they be that bad? I don't think they can. Anyway, you're probably not going to be happy with me here because I've actually sold Burkhardt. So he's gone to Grasshoppers for 5 million. I mean, Burkhardt did okay for us last season. I think he was leading goal scorer. But having said that, he was 27-28. He was classed as a nomadic striker, which going into the Premier League, I'm not entirely sure really. He was a 3-star but never really going to improve. Whereas 𝐒𝐄𝐀 on the other hand, who played probably about half the amount of games that Burkhardt played last season. But he is a 3-star with the potential to be 4.5. So he's younger and he's got more potential to grow. And with Jones and Diallo in there as well, I thought, well, if we sell Burkhardt, bring a bit of money in, it will help me to strengthen all the areas of the team and get some money off the wage bill. Because, to be honest, a lot of these players who are coming in now, I'm having to break the bank and the wages are just getting a little bit out of hand. And once you pay one or two players like 35, 40 grand, it puts a massive dent in our wage budget. If we had a £6 million a week wage budget, it would be fine. We haven't. I mean, I've bumped it up to like nearly £750,000, but in the grand shape of things, in Premier League terms, it's not a lot of money really. So Burkhardt, some money off the wage bill, some money in to strengthen the team, etc. And we brought a young Brazilian kid in who can be back up to Jones, 𝐒𝐄𝐀 and Diallo. Now, I know you're all chomping at the bit, aren't you? You want to know what the media think, what their prediction is for P&E in the Premier League. Shall we have a look? Well, I suppose, unsurprisingly, we're predicted to finish bottom 1,000 to 1. I mean, in fact, all the promoted teams are all expected to get relegated, to just go straight back down into the Championship again. But It's to be expected. I am expecting it to be a really tough season. I mean, you look every season, the teams that get promoted, not all the time, but most of the time, the teams that get promoted from the Championship just can't cope with the Premier League wages, transfer fees. They just can't cope with it. So most of them, now occasionally, you'll get the Brightons who will stay up there, but most of the time they come straight back down. So it's not really any surprise. I mean, actually, I'm a little bit offended that they've classed us as being bottom. I would rather have been third from bottom. That would have been a little less grating. But anyway, we're going to have to really work hard, and I'm going to have to work really hard at my team selections and my formations, and try and put teams out that will. I mean, let's have it straight. We're not going to beat Manchester City. We're not going to beat Liverpool. We're not going to beat Arsenal. But there are teams in there that I think we can give a good game. And in that light, maybe we can hover above relegation, maybe get towards mid-table. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Anyway, with all that said, a few more friendly games to play. Got new lads in who need to be worked into the team, get to know our formation and tactic. And the first game of the season is Leeds United at home. So they've not given us a hugely tough game. It won't be easy, but we're at home. We're against Leeds. Let's see what we can do. So we'll see you very shortly as PNE start their life up in the top tier in the Premier League. We'll see you.